Hello, my name is Juliana Imam. I'm a legal practitioner. I specialize in intellectual property, entertainment law, music business. I'm a singer and songwriter. I tried to do a live event, but I had issues with my network, and so I'm going to record and post later. My topic for today is how to make money from your music globally, and we're treating copyright today. This is a second class. Before I start, I would like everyone that's going to watch this record to like it, tag a friend, and share also. This is the only way you can make people like you independent. Also, I would like you to write where you're watching from. So if you're watching from Nigeria, I would like you to say I'm watching from Nigeria. If you're watching from another country, I would like you to say you're watching from this country or that country. Sorry, I had to just chill a bit. Thought someone was coming. So also I would like you to write what you do actually, whether you're a singer, a songwriter, or you're an artist. Let's say you promote people. I would like to know what you do. So please just feel free to drop what you do down below in the comment section. Today I'll be treating divisions of copyright. Do you know that there are two divisions of copyright? There's the composition copyright and there's the sound recording copyright. So if someone asks you what type of copyright do you want to proceed with, you say either I want to do the composition or I want to do the sound recording copyright. Now with this copyright, composition has to do with the lyrics and the melody. So let's say you write a particular song and you give a tune to the song. That's the lyrics and the melody. So that's composition copyright. Then there's a sound recording there's a sound recording copyright, and it's also called the master. Now, for the composition, people that have the right to the composition usually are the songwriters. Now, if I write a song, I have the copyright to it. I have the copyright to the composition. Then I can decide to give my rights to a publisher. I'll be treating publishing in my next subsequently, and so you can also join to know who a publisher is and how to make good use of publishers, and also how to contact publishers. Then for the sound recording, we have the master. For the master, sorry, people are coming. For the master, I can say for the master, we actually give that to record labels, and record labels are the ones usually that have the rights to the master. And this master, you can also copyright it. So let's say someone does a cover of a song. That person is not the copyright holder of the composition, because the person was not the one that wrote the song, but the person is a copyright holder to the master version of the song. So let's say you want to get the copyrights to the lyrics of the song, then you get in touch with the composer. If you want to use the sound recording, you get in touch with the master copyright holder. Sorry for the lights, I just decided to stay here because people are really going through. And so next, I'll be talking about independent artists and how you can do this. The thing about independent artists is that as an independent artist, you have the rights as the composer and you have the rights for the master version of it. So I am an independent artist. I actually register as a composer and as the owner of the sound recording. So, but if you actually have a record label signed to you, they might decide to have the master to the sound recording version and you have the master to the copyright version. Even when you have the rights as the copyright holder, you can also still decide to give that right to a publisher to help you promote better if you know you can't do it. So that's for an independent artist. So if you're an independent artist and you are not signed to a record label, then you are not supposed to copyright just the sound recording or just the composition. You copyright both, and when you are signing things or when you are going into agreements, you enter as both the composer and the sound recording owner. That's something to note for independent artists. Then also, whenever people do covers of your song, those people that do covers of your song actually get to get license from you, and they take that license from you as the composer. And if you're the master holder, you also get the rights as the you also yes, let me come out now, I think they're gone. You also get the rights as the master holder, as the copyright holder to the master version. So you get money from both ends. So this is an advantage that an independent artist has. But let's say you actually signed to a record label, you can decide that means you get for just the composition. So even if they're doing the song over and over and over for the next 100 years, as long as those songs are copyrighted, even if they do different versions and different people do different versions of it, you still get to keep that composition right. And so they might be playing it on the radio, playing it on places, and they pay the master version to the people that did the remix or did whatever version of it, but they will still continue paying you as the owner of the composition rights. Now I'll be talking about performance rights organizations. They're the ones that will help you collect these royalties. I'm talking about it later on how to register on it. Also, if you want to know the practicals of this, then you have to come for my seminar on the 8th of September at Abuja, the Transforming Church, and I'll be talking about how you can do it. I will teach you the practicals on how to do all these things I've been talking about, and I will still talk about. Now I'll talk about transfer and termination. Previously I was talking about composition and sound record. Now for you to know this transfer and termination, let's say my name is Juliana Imam and I have an album, Touch Your Soul. That album, as an independent artist, I own both the composition rights and the sound recording rights. Now if I give this, I can now decide that I want to share these rights in order to maximize better. That's the maximizing better. And so I can give the composition rights to a publisher to help me get more placements for the song, to help me get more people that will do cover versions, get it into TVs and all TV things and the rest. So I give it to a publisher. Then I can give the master side to a record label. You understand? So if I get a record label to sign me, then I give them the rights as that's to hold the master version of the copyright. I hope you understand this. So this is how I can share my rights. I can decide to hold on to the composition and give the master to a record label. I can decide to hold on to the master right and give the composition to a publisher. So where I transfer this to a third party, it's usually good to put it in a contract. If it's in a contract, if it's in a contract, then that means if it's in a contract, that means after the amount of years that you put it for, you can actually get it back. So let's say you do it for the next 10 years and you say, okay, I'm giving my rights to the composition parts to a publisher to help me for the next 10 years. Then those people have the rights for those 10 years, and after 10 years they get to give you your rights back. Or let's say you give your rights to the master to a record label, you can say I'm giving them for the next 10 years or 5 years or 1 year, and after that I get my copyright back. So this is something that you do so that you don't sign something perpetually. But even if you sign perpetually, you can still gain from it. Well, I'll just come out. You can still gain from it. So that's about that. Then also there's something that you should also know on how to terminate this transfer. So let's say you actually do this transfer and you give your rights to a third party. If it's contained in your agreement that it's going to terminate on so amount of years, then after those amount of years you get your rights back. But if it is not written, something I saw, and I'm not too sure if it applies in Nigeria, but I can see that it actually applies in the US, and that is if it is not specified, then it is still not absolute. So within 10 to 2 years minimally, you can send a timely notice to the person to say, I want to get my rights maybe to the composition back, or my rights to the master back. Then I'll also be talking about the exceptions to the transfer and termination. So let's say there there are actually exceptions to how you can get your rights back. Good afternoon, sir. Fine, thank you. So, well, this Nigeria, you have to greet. There are exceptions to this transfer and termination, and those exceptions are actually work for hire. So work for hire is when you work for hire is when you are under employment. Let's say I actually see that you're a songwriter and you're good, and I decide to employ you, and I say I want you to write songs for me for the next 1 year. Let's say I say I want you to write 100 songs for the next 1 year, and I'll be paying you monthly, or I pay you yearly, or in whatever way for it. And whatever you write belongs to me. So for that, you cannot now go and say you want to collect the rights, because the right was not even yours in the first place. Then also, there are exceptions for derivative work. Derivative work are jobs that are works that they are substantially changed from their original version. So let's say I have the original version of my song, Touch a Soul, and it's actually jazz. Someone else goes and sing the rap version of it, but the person takes permission from me that I want to sing your song Touch It, so it's really nice and I want to make it a rap song. So when they make that a rap song, or they change some lyrics, they remove some things, they add some things, they remix it and all, then that's a derivative work. So I cannot now go back and say I want to collect the rights from it, or I sing my song now in English or in Okrika or Andoni, because I'm from River State, and someone now decides to translate it to a Chinese language or to another language. That's also a derivative, of course, it has been substantially changed. So where a work has been substantially changed, you cannot now say you want to collect the right back. Then also I'll talk about rights under copyright. Rights under copyright, we have rights to produce, right to reproduce. Right to reproduce, we have that you decide to you actually decide who makes copies of your work, or who use your work. So for TV stations, for movies, for samples, for publishing sheets of music, you can decide who you want to make copies of your song. Also, we have right to distribute. Right to distribute, you decide who sells your work. So if I have the master rights and I decide, okay, I don't really want to go through the stress of making CDs and doing that, I want to give that right to a record label to do that for me, I can decide to give that master right to somebody, and the person will now go and begin to distribute. So that's the right to distribute. Then there's also the right to create derivative work, and that's what I explained earlier. Derivative work, that's something that is substantially changed from the original version. So if someone wants to do let's say I want to translate it to another language, I can do that. Or if I want to give another person the right to translate to another language, or to do a rap version, or to do a substantially different version from the normal version, then I give the person the right. That is also another right. That's the right to create derivative work from it. Then there's also the right to public performance, that's singing it in public, playing it in public places, shows, radio shows, clubs, restaurants. Then there's also the right to transmit digital audio over non-interactive streams. That's, let's say you have the right to give it to them to play on the radio, you have the right to play it on the internet, on TV and other places. Then there's the right to digital display. That's not really applicable to music. Then you can also sue for your work when it's copyrighted. I'll be talking about if your work is infringed. If your work is infringed and it has been copyrighted, what you do is that you capture the evidence. You have to capture the evidence. If it's online, capture it. You take pictures of it, snapshots of it. If it's a physical infringement, you also document it. Then number 2, you document everything that led to it. So I was actually on this site, they led me to this site, and lo and behold, I saw my song. So you record all those things, so that when you're trying to prove your case that someone actually copied it, the person cannot really deny that. Then you get an entertainment lawyer to help you prosecute the case. Also, there are exceptions to copyright, and those exceptions are, okay, I copyrighted my song, and if someone decides that they want to translate it for the blind and for disabled persons, that's an exception. I will not go and start suing them for it. Or if it's a library that wants to keep it for preservation purpose, for education purposes, they can do that. Then there's something called fair use also. Fair use is when where there are different things to fair use. So they can say it's for educational purpose. This is for primary school children. Your song is educational, touch your soul, and so I want education. Sorry, I want people to use it for educational purposes. So when they use it, I will not go to disturb them. Also, there's the non-profit. Let's say I'm not using it for profit, I just want to use it for something that is non-profit, you can use it. But now it's actually that on YouTube, whether you're doing your own show for a non-profit or a profit, whatever you're using it for, when you use someone else's sound recording that has an identifiable ID fingerprint, whether you're not getting money from it, they will monetize it and give some money to the owner of the song. Then there's also how much of that work was used. That's the qualitative and the quantitative substantiality of it. Then there is the effect on the owner of the song and whether the owner lost some money due to your use of the song. So let's say someone wrote a song and you now went to carry it and put it somewhere else, and everybody is watching it through your site, everybody is buying it from you, and they are not actually giving any form of profit to the rightful owner of the song, and you are keeping everything to yourself and you didn't give any license to the person to use it and all that. So you can actually sue for that. But if the person used it and you are still making profit of it and it was not, and you took license from everything was okay, then you cannot sue for that. That's one of the exceptions of copyright. Then we have a duration. I spoke about the duration yesterday. I just like to hint on some things that I didn't talk about. The single author is for your life and for 70 years after. For joint ownership, which I didn't talk about, that's if I sang a song with someone else. That person I sang it with, maybe we are 3 or 4. It's for the life of the last person. So if 5 of us did it and maybe the rest of us die in the next 100 years and the person lives for 175 years, it's for the life of that 175 years and 70 years after the last person dies. So that's the duration for joint ownership. Then for people that are employed to write songs, that's work for hire, anonymous works or studio names, those people, they have it for 95 years from the publication, for 120 years from the day of fixation, whichever is shorter. So it's good for you to know the duration, and this is one thing you enjoy as a singer that copyrights your song. Now there was somebody, Jonathan Colton, he actually did a cover, he did an arrangement of a song, he did not copyright the song. A particular TV film, I think it was Glee, they went and they used up the song and he didn't do the copyright, so he missed out from, imagine if Glee paid you for using your song, but it was not copyrighted, they used it, and that was how he didn't get his money. I'm not too sure of this fact, but I saw it and I'm giving it to you, so I'm not sure of the fact. Then thank you for listening. I've been able to round up on copyright. This is the end of copyright. In my next class I'll be talking about either publishing or, I think I'm talking about publishing or license. So I would like you to join me. If the internet is not good, I'll also do a record like this and send to you. Thanks for listening. Please comment, tell me what you learned, tell me your problems, ask your questions, tell me where you're listening from, tell me what you do, if you're a singer, songwriter, whatever is your own passion, let me know. My workshop will be in Nigeria, Abuja, at the Transforming Church on the 8th of September. This workshop, I will be teaching you how to copyright your song step by step, how to do trademark. And that copyright is both for Nigeria, abroad. I would also tell you how to put your songs for TV placements, how to record, how to sign up for collective agencies in Nigeria and abroad. I'll be teaching you so much, because you can actually get money from your songs in so many ways aside from selling CDs and touring. Thank you very much. Also, my album will be coming out on the 30th of August. That is just some few days away from now. So please go on iTunes, Amazon, Spirit Coco and other sales musical outlets and download my songs, buy my songs, encourage me. Make sure you share this so that people can be aware of how to improve their music beyond trying to get sent to a record label. This video was made in partnership with One Voice Africa. You'll be hearing more of them and you'll be seeing more of them. Finally, watch my broadcast tomorrow. I told myself I can do it. I'm doing it. You too can do it. Thank you. Make money off your music.